I think it's safe to say now that in the past year or so, I've made quite a decent amount of money selling on Etsy. It's not my most profitable sales channel, but for the low amount of work that I've put in, I've made an amount that I'm comfortable with. And if I was to up the work significantly, I think I could make this a full-time business. Anyway, let me explain to you guys now, because after selling on the platform for about a year and having made quite a few sales, I think I'm in a position to kind of start to explain how I've done so. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking me in the comment section and over on Discord, how do I make sales on Etsy? How is it something that I can start? How do I test products? Well, let me share it all with you guys. If you're here for the first time, let me tell you a few things though. First things first, I recommend that you subscribe to the channel for obvious reasons. You're going to learn a lot about money, a lot about money making, and a lot about how to create businesses online to make either extra income or even a full-time income. Like I've said before guys, I don't have a job, I just run my businesses as well as being a student. Anyway, I also want to say I now have a Discord server which up until our 25th member is free. You can join it with a link in the description, but again, places are limited, and once we get up to 25 members guys, I'm going to be honest, it is going to be paid. So you can secure your place now by joining up. Anyway, let's get into the topic. So, first things first, let's talk about what Etsy is, because if we want to make money on Etsy, we need to understand what Etsy is. Obviously, Etsy is a buying and selling platform, but that is a massive generalization statement, and saying that is not really what it is. It's not like eBay, it's not like Amazon. Etsy is a very strict marketplace. Etsy is primarily for handmade goods, and I think this is initially worth noting. But I know what you guys are thinking. How can I then run a dropshipping store on Etsy? Well, there's one thing that I've noticed on Etsy, and you guys are going to have to make sure you research this yourself, but as far as I'm aware from my research, and again I might be wrong, you can sell pre-made items on Etsy, i.e. items ready-made by someone else, as long as they fall under the category of art supplies and goods, and I believe it is also party supplies and goods. I might be wrong, but I think if it's art supplies and tools and party supplies and goods and tools, you can get away with selling in those categories. So I think this is the most important thing to note, because if we talk about selling stuff like sunglasses or watches on Etsy, unless you've customized it, I just don't think you're going to be able to do that. When I've listed things outside of category on Etsy, but be it either on purpose or by accident, they do clamp down on it. So if you want to run a sustainable business, it's about staying within the rules, and to stay within the rules, stay within the parameters, or else you're going to have problems later down the line, and I don't want that for you guys. So now that we've got that established, we've already narrowed down what we can sell on Etsy to make money. So that's actually really good, because unlike eBay, where we might need to test 5, 10, 15 different product ranges or different categories, we now know what 2 categories we can sell in. Now, of course, within those 2 categories, there are lots of different things, but there are a few general categories and a few general criteria pieces that I look for when it comes to finding new items. So I think the first thing that I'd say is, we're here to run a business. We want to make money. I wouldn't be selling these items for £5, $5, $10, £15. I wouldn't be doing that. And there's one simple reason for it. Unless you can get a decent margin out of that and you can buy these items extremely cheaply, there's no profit in it. Like, think about it. We're trying to run a business here, and we want to make our amount of work worth it for what we're doing. And I think that if we're making £5 per item, we can do better than that. So what I'd say is, when I was starting this business, I would try to look for items that make a minimum of £10 profit. Maybe $10 works for you, but that's the margin that I've set in my head. Ideally £15 to £20 per item profit, and yes, that is doable. So once we've got this understood, we've already got our niche a little bit more concentrated. We're looking for items in the art supplies or party supplies categories. We're looking for £10 to £15 profit, and that means that our items are going to be within the price range of purchase probably between $5 and $20. But we could of course even sell more expensive products for more profit, which is sometimes what I like to do on Etsy. Some of the sales that I've had have been for maybe £50, £60, £70. And of course, that's where the money is. The more profit, the more money, the more revenue, the more money you can make it if you do it correctly. Now, on top of that, I'd say the most important thing when selling on these platforms is thinking about your delivery time. Because think about it. People don't like waiting months and months and months for items, right? No one does. Fortunately, when you're on places like AliExpress or other markets, you can take this into consideration. I'm looking for items with a 5-day shipping. I'm looking for items with a 7-day shipping. I'm looking for items with a 12-day shipping. On Etsy, you can luckily set your shipping times, unlike on eBay where you might have a best window of 7 days shipping. On Etsy, you basically got unlimited shipping time, but that doesn't mean that people are going to want to wait for it, especially if it's a pre-made item. So to save yourself headaches down the line of chasing up tracking numbers and customers that are not happy, make sure all of your items come within 12 days at the latest, 15 at the absolute latest. If you do this, in my experience, you can get away with it and no customers have any problems. So that's kind of the niche categories that I would look for when it comes to selling on Etsy. And again, if you do this correctly, you can create a business where you are seeing massive profits. You see, I see a lot of people talking about how selling on Etsy can be great, and this guy set up a sunglasses shop. I know that everyone likes to use that example. The thing is though, a sunglasses shop on Etsy isn't going to be sustainable because Etsy doesn't allow the selling of things like sunglasses unless it's handmade. You want to save yourself the hassle, make a sustainable business that's not going to get shut down by selling items that are allowed on the platform. That's what I personally recommend. So this is a relatively short guide, but these are a few of the things that I look for. And again, in terms of marketplaces that I look for, I think people have massively mistaken the whole AliExpress model. I hear it all the time. You can't sell stuff from AliExpress. Well, you can. I think as I go on, as I continue to grow my business, the next step is looking away from AliExpress because I've listed almost all of the stuff that you can get on AliExpress when it comes to eBay in my particular niche, and even on Etsy now I'm struggling to find more stuff for the shop. Bear in mind guys, I'm comfortable experimenting with stuff, and I think this is one point that I forgot to mention. Do feel okay with experimenting. I think one piece of BS that we've heard, and the screen's gone off now, I think one piece of BS that we've heard in the marketplace of dropshipping is this whole concept of a winning product. Yes, you can have a winning product. I'm not even going to say that you can't. But I've got a dropshipping business. I have 2 or 3 actually. And on my eBay dropshipping business, this month I made 3,000. In my top month on my other account on eBay, I made 10,000. I didn't have a winning product. I had some products that sold multiple times a week, a day, but these weren't winning products. I had hundreds of items listed on my shop. To make the 3,000 a month that I made this month, I've got hundreds of items listed, about 260 items. Even on my Etsy shop, I've got over 150 items. Be comfortable experimenting. And going back to my previous point about AliExpress, times have changed, guys. It's not like it used to be, 5, 10 years ago, where to get stuff from China, it had to come directly from China, and it had to take ages. Well, a lot of stuff can be shipped directly from China in what seems to be, 5 to 10 days. And a lot of these Chinese suppliers don't seem to send stuff even from China. They do have warehouses in places like England or the Netherlands or Germany or the US. So depending on what your country is, you have the potential to use a platform like this. And again, when you get to the point that I am, and I don't say it to brag, but when you're starting to list a lot of stuff and make a considerable amount of money, then I'd consider adding other suppliers into the mix. But for an early stage seller who's just trying to make a bit of money, I'd definitely leverage AliExpress. It's got good returns policies in case anything goes wrong, and a lot of stuff is tracked, in fact most stuff is, and also a lot of it comes fairly quickly. So that's a quick bit of guidance that I'd give for Etsy. I hope it helps with you guys' journey. Again, feel free to join the Discord for more assistance and my personal opinions. And that's it for this one. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.